What's going on? This is Ernest Cosmic, and welcome back once again to Unstuck, what I like to call escaping the matrix. Today, once again, I'm in the studio with a very good friend of mine, Marlon Francis, and we are going to be diving deep into a very controversial topic. It's about how slavery affected a lot of African Americans and is keeping them stuck. So without much ado, I would like to introduce my guest to the studio. Hello Marlon, how are you doing?
I'm good, Ernest. Boy, you really put your foot in the hand's nest with this one.
I know. I know this is a topic that is very sensitive to you.
Yeah.
And we've had this discussion offline, and I know where you stand pertaining to this, but I want us to do this and put this out there for our audience to also chip in their own 2 cents for us to see how we can get people unstuck, because the goal here is not to keep people stuck, it's to get people unstuck.
Right.
And to begin the whole thing, I come from Ghana, West Africa.
Yes.
And as a Ghanaian, I know what it is like to go through the system in Africa. It's very difficult. It's different from being in the United States of America.
Right.
There are so many people in Ghana right now that if you put a boat down and you write on it slavery, and it's visible and everybody can see the writing on the boat, and you don't even have to go and catch these people. Just write on the boat slavery to America and leave the boat there. The number of people that will jump on that boat will literally sink. That is how bad Africans want to get out of their country.
Sure, right.
And come to a place like America, because they consider America to be the land of opportunity.
Right.
But one thing I found out, and was a shock to me when I came to America, was that so many African Americans, and this is not to pick on African Americans, I believe they are hardworking people.
Right.
But I noticed that something was holding them back from becoming all that they can become. And it's this topic of racism and inequality.
Right.
When I came from Ghana to the United States, I didn't see no inequality. All I was looking for is a job.
Right.
Anything I find to do, I'll do it to the best of my ability.
Right.
This country gave me the opportunity to go to college, and gave me an opportunity to work for a hospital in Brooklyn, and I'm very happy with my career so far. But I've seen so many African Americans who can barely make a living for themselves, because they talk about inequality and how they want the playing field to be leveled so that we can all have the same opportunities. So if you can explain to me a little bit what it means to be an African American living in the United States.
All right. First, good evening, everyone. My name is Marlon Francis, and we have come up with this the topic of slavery and the journey of slavery to where we are now. This is a very interesting and delicate topic. Now, I must put things into perspective. Ernest earlier declared that he's Ghanaian, who migrated to the United States of America. Based upon the accent that you're hearing coming from me, you could tell that I'm a Caribbean boy. I'm from Jamaica, and I migrated to the United States of America. Nevertheless, what I have in common with the American experience is that everyone who is black, who came to this side of the world, the only difference between the African American and the West Indian is the West Indians went further south because we had slavery also. Now, you mentioned that when you came, you did not see the inequality. You did not see the need for the structural or systemic effects of what people were complaining about, because you had your goals, you focused on them, and you were able to achieve them, and you are where you are right now. The nuance with what I've learned with the African American is You see, they lived here.
Okay.
You came over,
Okay.
right? So their experience is completely different from yours. And they live in it. What system that was set up against them, what separation that was tossed in their faces. Because I'll tell you, the freedom from slavery was not too long ago for these people.
I mean, we are talking about 400 years. So what are you talking about?
No, that's 400 years of slavery, not
Right.
400 years of emancipation.
How many years of emancipation are we talking about?
Well, it happened in 1865, I believe, when Lincoln.
1865. That's
Yes.
over 100 years ago.
Well, let's dive into some of the trauma that these people were put through. Now,
Right.
you're an African.
Right.
You can identify with being an African. You can
Absolutely.
identify with your religion.
Right.
You can identify from the town that you come from.
Right.
You can identify with your ancestry.
Mhm.
You know your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, and so forth. You can identify with those things.
Right.
The Africans who were ripped from Africa and came to the Americas and South America and the Caribbean cannot identify or go back to the village from which they came. Can you go back to the village from which you came? Do you have friends from that community?
Right.
Right. All of that, the religion, the community, the foods we ate, hold on. The roads we walked, that's all ripped away from you. And now, when the fact that you're in a strange land, and in the strange land, it's not as though we came over as tourists, like some would want to believe. There was no tourism. This was slavery. This was labor that was done for free with whips across the back. Yes, where children were born on a plantation, ripped away from the mother, and the trauma continues. Where fathers who created the African tradition, he was ripped from his family and sold to another plantation, leaving his family, and that perpetuated for many years. For many years. So there is a tremendous amount of trauma and stuff that black folks across this side of the hemisphere
Right.
have to pull ourselves out of.
Right.
Yes.
So I've heard all that you said, and I would like to say that I know so many black or African Americans that were able to get unstuck despite the things that were trying to oppress them. And for the majority of the African Americans out there that cannot get unstuck and are using slavery or the trauma of slavery as an excuse for not going forward, I find that to be a little bit unfortunate, because America presents an opportunity that you wouldn't find in any other country.
This is true. You make a great point.
And the reason why
Yes.
I'm saying this is that if you really want to see the effect of slavery on Africans or African Americans, if you really want to see what slavery did to Africans, you can't see that here in America. You have to go to Africa to see that. The people that they took from us and brought them here and made them slaves. See the vacuum that it left back in Africa. As a result of that, today in Africa we are a third world country. As a result of that, they just did not take our people; they took our resources in addition.
So hold on.
So today,
so
Africans should be in the position to say that because they took all our resources to places like America, that is why we are poor. If they use that as an excuse for not going forward or for not doing well in life, I can understand that. But for people or African Americans in America using that as an excuse for not going forward and doing great things, I find that to be very unfortunate.
all right, so here's another part of the nuance of the story
Right.
that I think you need to also be exposed to. Um, immigration. Immigration was also used as a weapon against the African American. I don't know if you understand the nuance of that, but that is very true. The West Indian that comes over, the African who comes over, the South American who comes over, when we come over, we come with an accent. So there's a clear distinction. There's a clear distinction. They can tell you're not American.
Mhm.
And I've seen and I've heard this expression used to me, you're different.
Mhm.
You're different. At first, I didn't understand what that meant. I didn't understand. What it really meant was, we'd rather deal with you than deal with them.
Mhm.
When I discovered that, it bothered me. Because there were civil rights activists, black men and women, who were African Americans, who created the way for us to come here.
Right.
Yes? That sacrifice requires some level of respect from us, and also for us to become active in helping to bring them up with us. You understand me?
Mhm.
I strongly believe, and this is a philosophy of mine, that, and I learned this from my Jewish brothers and sisters while I was working at the American Airlines. Let me tell the story real quick. While I was working at the American Airlines, I remember checking in some Jewish folks, but they were all from different parts of the world. There was a Spaniard Jew, there was a Jew from the UK, and there was a Jew from Miami.
Right.
And they were all hanging out together. I don't know if they were family or anything, but they were all at the time. When the kid gave me his Spanish passport, I was like, huh? And then the other one gave me the UK passport. I was like, someone said, I said, you guys know each other? He said, yeah. We kind of connected while we were here, and we're going on the same flight. So that I said, really? I said, really? No, these guys grew up on different parts of the hemisphere, but there's a commonality among them. You understand me? There's no distinction of no, because you were born in Spain, because you were born in. They didn't treat each other that way.
Right.
They saw each other, and they were there for each other, and they immediately formed a bond with each other. We have that. We have not developed that relationship on a high and tangible level. I don't know why. And maybe I do, because every time that we do, we are told to break it up.
So, what do you think the African American who is stuck right now and wants to get unstuck, what do you think they need to do, or what needs to happen for somebody like that to get unstuck?
I'll tell you this much. It's not that the effort was not made. The effort was made. When I think about Tulsa, I think about Roswell in Florida. Those are two prominent black communities that were on the rise. They were about to become the example. Talk about the Harlem Renaissance. Was another example of what it meant to be black and the excellence of being black. And when given the opportunity to expound ourselves as entrepreneurs, as educators, as scientists, and bankers and business people, we were flourishing. And then they were torn down, destroyed. And when it happens to you a few times over, there's a level of fear that comes in.
I understand.
I
understand everything that happened to the African
Let me finish the
American. I
point.
want you to talk about what needs to be done for people of color
So now
to get unstuck.
What has happened over the few years, 20 odd years I've been here.
Right.
What I've seen happening is the focus on education, and in particular, I have to give black women, African American women, and another group of women who are breaking through on the educational frontier from Africa are the Nigerians. They are doing extremely well in the classroom, and they are integrating into the nuance of the Americas, and they are working with. I believe that there's starting to be a cohesiveness among us where we're starting to really start to talk about what do we want to do and move forward in the future. Politically, I think we're working on the financial part, but there are not enough wealthy black folks to put monies together to have some level of influence so that the narrative of what it means to be black in the Americas to remove that negative connotation from us.
I think much of what needs to be seen in the African American circle is not formal education. I think what we need to see is self-education, because
Right.
here is the case. You cannot leave your growth in the hands of another person. Do you understand? There has to come a point in your life as an individual. Now I'm not talking even about people of color.
Right.
As an individual, there has to come a point in your life that you have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired, where you take matters into your own hand and ask yourself, what are other people doing in order to be successful?
Okay.
Because when I came as an immigrant, that was what I was looking at. I wasn't here looking at my past, where I was from, and how many days I went without eating, with no food, and my mom died when I was 8 years old. I wasn't looking at all of that. I wasn't
Right.
looking at my past. If I should dwell on my past, I cannot move forward. The only time you can move forward is not pretend as if your past doesn't exist, but reconcile with your past and move forward. And the way you move forward is model people that you want to be like. Do you understand? When you model people that you want to be like, then you will be making that progress towards financial independence. But the more you get stuck on the idea of slavery and how Africans were brought over here, and you guys didn't have culture, you guys didn't have family, a lot of the stuff that Africans have, you guys didn't have that, and you use that as an excuse, and you live in a system of abundance, and you are not able to utilize.
I don't think you're grasping what I'm saying.
Please
Ernest.
help me. Please help me understand.
Ernest, listen, a black man in this country
Right.
who becomes wealthy and is
Right.
doing very well for himself, could be
Right.
driving his nice car on the highway, gets pulled over on the basis
Right.
that he's black and driving a nice car.
I agree.
So that is a
That's-
nuance that
That shouldn't prevent us from moving
no,
forward.
no. It's not a prevention.
Right.
It's the systemic racism that tells you that you're never equal. You live somewhere.
Right.
You live somewhere. This is
Right.
your home. African Americans, I don't know why they even call them African Americans. They're Americans.
Americans.
They're
yes.
Americans.
I agree.
Right. And they live here. They came out of, I tell you, where they are now, where the descendants of the slave is now, based upon the systemic racism and all the inequalities that they have faced throughout the years. I'm telling you, man, they are incredible human beings.
I agree.
Incredible human beings for where they are.
I agree.
Ernest, you have to understand that. Even, let me tell you what, Kanye may be getting a lot of flack, but Kanye did a song and he made a phrase and he says, you did all you can, but remember, no matter how well off you are, you're still a nig in a coop.
Right.
And when I heard the line, I was like, oh my God.
Listen, no, if you want to see yourself as a nigga in the coop,
No. It's not, no. We don't see ourselves that way. We do not. We do not. But others do, and they will treat you as such. And you're trying to listen, man. Even the wonderful, great Oprah Winfrey
right.
went to a store one day. I believe she was preppy that morning,
Right.
walking on her toes, and she's taking her friends, and she knocked on the door, and she said, they're going to open the door, guys. And the person looked and saw a black person at the door. They didn't see Oprah.
That wasn't in America, bro.
It don't matter.
It matters.
It don't matter. No.
We are talking about black people living in America.
No.
That's what we are talking about.
But she's an American woman, a black woman.
That happened in Europe.
She's black. Hold on. That's what I tell you. You don't get
You
caught
are
up.
deviating from the topic.
No, we're not.
The topic is this.
You're black. Hold on.
You are deviating from the topic.
Hold on.
Let's dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, the African American experience. The African American
How can they get unstuck? We are not talking about racism.
They're
talking about-
They have tried to unstuck themselves from that negative background, and they were dragged back into it, and they've done it so many ways to these people. When slavery ended in these United States, blacks started to do for themselves what every good human being was supposed to do. They were doing good things, and then they brought in Jim Crow. When they saw these people started rising, when they saw them starting to developing schools for themselves and teaching and flourishing, they developed a system called the Jim Crow. Say, you can't come inside here. You can't have the same level of education that my children are having. They cut them off. They cut them off from work.
That was years ago.
No, hold on. And you have to dig yourself out of that. Then they had the civil rights movement, which was another movement to bring us out of another situation. And then after the civil rights movement, there was the movement of education, and then they dumbed down the education.
So this is
so when you have to, Ernest, I'm telling you.
So my question to you
I
is
believe
this. My
that
question to you
despite-
is this. My question to you is this.
Right.
Right now, you have African Americans listening to you right now.
Yes.
What do you have to tell them that will help them get unstuck? Tell them right now.
My brothers and sisters, as we are moving into the new frontier, where we have to really sit down and think about the future that we want. The first thing I'd like us to do is to stop this. Stop judging each other, but to meet each other at a place where we are. Understand your level and understand the other person's level, but never to shun the person from the conversation. Include them so that each man understands where he or she comes in and the value of their work that they will offer as we move forward. Every role is important. Do not turn anyone away. The next thing that we need to do is to start trusting each other. And here's how I believe that we begin to trust each other. If you say something that you're going to do, follow through. Follow through at your level. Follow through. If you don't understand, get a better understanding. We've always said in order to be unstuck is to be the best student you can see. Learn your role and understand your role so that you may be trusted in knowing what you're going to do. The next thing is, let's start to create families. Let's have mothers and fathers back in the home. Let's learn to love our children and love our mates so that we can move into the future with healthy families. One of the people that I really admire and respect is Charlemagne the God in the hip hop world, who speaks about our mental health, and he never leaves those words anytime he has a show for us to deal with those issues. And we have to deal with those issues because we have had many years of trauma that we need to come out of. I think we can be better for the future.
And with that being said, we bring tonight's podcast to an end. And if you're listening to us right now on YouTube, I would like to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Also hit the notification bell to get notified whenever we post a new video. If you're watching on Facebook, please like our page, click the follow button, and anytime we post a new video, you will be notified. Thank you And until next time, remember, don't be a follower,
Hold on, Ernest.
be a student.
I have one more thing to say. One more thing to say. I need to add this in. If you are of a faith, you are a faith-driven person, or if you don't have a faith and you are black, the only thing that we all have in common is our skin. We can identify with each other from a distance that that person over there is one of us. We must begin to identify. We must find a commonality within ourselves, about ourselves, and a standard within ourselves, so that when we see each other, we can identify with each other and take care of each other. My last words.
All right. My name is Unstuck, and have a great day.